What's up, family? This is the day that the Lord has made. We're rejoicing and we're glad in it. Happy Thursday. My hope and expectation is that your day is going extremely well. And if for some reason it's not going extremely well, it's probably because you don't have access to the information that I'm about to share with you today. So please do me a favor very quickly, be sure to make sure my mic is good. Every time I wear my sweaters, I forget that I have an issue with my mic. So I'm trying to make sure that my mic is clear. But please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know Prophet Ramon, the squad, and the Ramon Preston Show, we are live in his house on this beautiful Thursday. Now, again, please do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, and tag Lolly Dolly everybody. We getting ready to have a good conversation today, and I know a whole lot of people might not want to have this conversation, and really because they might be avoiding the reality of where they are. But there's some things that I'm gonna share with you today. They might shock you. They might shock you. But guess what? Shock value is good, especially when you are doing what you need to do to get to where you want to go. Okay? So please hit the like button, hit the share button. Tag somebody, let them know Prophet Ramon, the squad, the Ramon Preston Show, we're live. And right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta, I want to start by saying thank you to all of you that sent your birthday wishes, to all of you that just went out of your way to let me know that you love and appreciate me. I want you to know that I love and appreciate you. I receive all of the birthday wishes, all of the text messages, the phone calls, the DMs, the inboxes, the posts on social media, all of my gifts, everything that I received for my birthday is certainly appreciated. Thank all of you so much. Even some of our coaching clients, we had coaching clients that reached out to us and wished me a happy birthday. We had some of our clients and people who are in our ecosystem for our business coaching and consulting and training that sent me some gifts. So I really appreciate everything. It was definitely appreciated. I could have been anywhere in the world. Yesterday for my birthday. My wife and I could have jumped on any private jet or any commercial aircraft and traveled anywhere we wanted to around the world. We could have done that if we wanted to. And I chose to be right here with my wife and with my squad in our headquarters yesterday. And I think I posted a few pictures and a few videos. They just made my heart well. So I want to give a shout out to my staff, my team, my squad. I love you so much and appreciate everything that you continue to do to help us help others start, structure, and scale their businesses, their ministries, their income streams, and wealth building dreams. This is what we do here, y'all, at Ramon Preston Enterprises, and this is the reason why I show up every day on the Ramon Preston Show. So if you're watching us live, even if you're not, but especially if you're watching us live today, I want you to drop the name of the city, the name of the state, the name of the country that you are watching us from. Who are you representing? What city, what state, what country are you representing? Please put it in the comments to let us and our community know where you're watching from. We have some amazing followers. We have some amazing tribe members. We have some amazing members of our business and ministry community. And I appreciate all of you, because without your participation, without your engagement, without you following the leadership that my wife and I and that our organization provides for both ministry and marketplace success, we would not be doing what it is that we're doing. A part of my motivation is that I'm seeing the success in the lives of the people that I'm serving. And so I want you to know that I certainly appreciate you, and I want you to put the name of the city, the state, or the country that you're watching your boy from. Now, let me begin by saying welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. I am your host, Ramon Preston. Every Monday through Friday, we show up here to share with you information that is specifically and strategically designed to help you start, structure, and scale your businesses, your ministries, your income streams, and your wealth building dreams. And honestly, I'm here to show you that you can become a blueprint millionaire. I'm serious about that. You can become a blueprint millionaire. And I don't know about you. Maybe you can put this response or some feedback in the comments. But when I look back over my life, okay, I just turned 45 years old yesterday. When I look back over my 45-year life, I can probably be clear and go back as far as when I was about 11 or 12, when I realized that there was a big, extraordinary difference between the way I was living and the way other people outside of my community was living. Now it's a difference if you go to the neighbor's house and, okay, we were very poor, we were impoverished, right? My grandmother, my mama's mama, she raised me and my siblings and my niece when she was born, before she died. And we knew we was poor, okay? We knew we didn't get all the gifts. We knew there were other kids in the community that got bicycles and motorcycles and toys and games and all the gadgets that we knew we wanted. And you're talking about, I'm a 70s baby, so you're talking about maybe the early 80s, growing up 5, 6, 7 years old. I knew that we were in poverty, okay? I knew that we were poor. I knew we didn't have a lot, but my grandma instilled into us morals and ethics, and so we never really had this chip on our shoulder or this resentment oh man, everybody else doing better than us and why we gotta live like this. I had moments that I felt that way, but it wasn't until I was probably about 11 or 12 years old. So I was born in 1976. You're talking about what? That would be 87, 88, 1987, 1988. That was around the time that I really started realizing that, man, it's a big difference between the way we live in, even though we saw a difference between the way we was living and other people in the community, because you had people in the community who were doing pretty well. But when I looked at some of the people and how they were living outside of the community, I mean, because we used to go to some of these other neighborhoods, whether it was to cut grass or whether it was to trim trees or whether it was to solicit or do whatever it was, or just to look, we knew that there was a big difference. There was a financial disparity. There was a fundamental difference between how I was living in my neighborhood and how other people and other kids were living in their neighborhood. And really you see it when you in school, but you really don't think about it when you go to school. Some people take the bus, some people getting dropped off, but you're really not making no big deal about it. At least I wasn't really thinking about it. But when I got 11 or 12, I started thinking about it. Now, I'm saying this to you because some of the things that I want to talk about today on how to become a millionaire are literally central to your upbringing. They're central to your mindset. They're central to your belief system. And they're all going to reflect and result in certain behaviors, certain practices, certain techniques and tactics that you use on a day-to-day basis. And so if your mindset, if how you were raised, if your environmental structure, if it kind of shaped you to think a certain way, to believe a certain way, and to operate a certain way, it has a lot to do with why you may be in the financial condition or position that you're in. So I'm not trying to get real heavy and deep into this discussion, but I'm not going to just sit on this show and just say, okay, here are the 4 steps to becoming a millionaire. It don't work like that. And I have had to figure this out. And I'm 45 years old. Of course, I thought this would have happened to me probably 30 years ago, maybe 32, 33 years ago. But it didn't happen to me 32, 33 years ago. All right. And so when I look back to the time when I was about 12 or 13, that's when I realized that, man, I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. And here's the thing. It was around the same time or soon after I started thinking like that. That was around the same time that I got introduced to really heavy drugs. I became a drug addict at a young age. I mean, I was literally a full-blown drug addict by the time I was 13, 14. I'm talking about hard, heavy drugs. We're talking about snorting cocaine and selling crack and weed, and I was already addicted to nicotine and drinking. All this by the time I was 13, 14 years old. But the past couple years, since I have been in the process of creating a millionaire lifestyle for me and for my family, these last couple of years have been able to shed light on me, or God has allowed me to be enlightened on what really happened to me during that time when I transitioned from 11 or 12-year-old into like this, from this good kid into this like crazy drug addicted criminal. Well, a lot of that stemmed from me wanting to be a millionaire, me wanting to be rich, me wanting to have a different life, and feeling like the way I was living, I wasn't blaming my grandma or my mom or my daddy at the time. It was just like, wow, this is the way life is. This is how I'm going to live the rest of my life. And some of that triggered me going into drugs, triggered me going into alcohol abuse, triggered me going into the streets and becoming a street hustler and a thug, because to some extent, and I've realized that in my adult life, that I gave up on becoming a millionaire. I never gave up on wanting to be a millionaire. I just gave up on realizing I could be a millionaire and put myself in a position to become a millionaire. So I'm very interested, and this is like a real heart-to-heart, sincere conversation that I want to have with you. I am interested in knowing if you have had similar experiences. Was there a certain point in your life as a child that you saw things on TV, you noticed a disparity and a difference in certain people that come from certain neighborhoods, or certain young people you saw in school or wherever? Did you have any experience like that? I know that experience really affected me. And so if you just look at the way my life is, and I like using my life as an example, because I want to show you, and when I make statements and use phrases and cliches like you see me use and make on social media, I want you to understand the human side behind it. So when you see like little statements that say, oh, Ramon Preston went from hood figure to seven figures, is that just a marketing scheme? Is that just a tactic to get people's attention? Is that just another form of social media advertising to come off as this internet guru who's selling some internet product that they really don't have an understanding or an attachment to? Or is it actually a human side, a real side of a person who went through some things and made the committed decision at certain points in his life to figure those things out that he went through, so that number one, he could break the cycle and create history, but also provide an opportunity for people like you to break that cycle and create history. And it's the truth. My life has always been an open book. I'm never going to come on social media. I'm never going to present to my family or to people in my circle in my life something that I know is a false narrative. Because the truth is, if I'm lying, if I'm capping, if I'm faking, if I'm fronting, if I'm putting on for social media, at some point the truth is gonna come out. But I can stand right here, 10 toes down, flat-footed, and look you right in the eye and you look me right in the eye and say, everything that I'm sharing with you, I am living in my own personal life. I would not even be discussing a millionaire blueprint if I haven't put myself in that position to be a blueprint millionaire. If me and my family did not experience what we experienced in our lives to get to where we are, I wouldn't be telling all these sob stories and these war stories, but it is what it is. And whoever don't like it, that's their problem. But for those of you that really have had dreams and desires to become millionaires, okay, and you've just tried to figure this thing out, and maybe like me, you reached a point in your life. I was 12 or 13 when I reached that point, because if you look at my life and you see where I got to the height of really believing that I was going to be a millionaire. My mama was telling me stories about my family, that the white side of my family in Pennsylvania, we were all believing at that time that she had rich family members that gave her an inheritance. And I can remember these stories so vividly. And I really thought that, man, we were going to be rich. We were going to own houses and we were going to drive go-karts around and four-wheelers. And man, I just had these dreams, not even knowing that even though there may have been some truth to my mama's stories, and even though my mama may have used it to exaggerate, to get over on a whole lot of people to fund her crack addiction, I've realized, especially as an adult, that God was actually using some of that to fuel this dream and this desire to become a millionaire, to be rich, to get wealthy, and to put my family and my legacy on. And guess what? Initially, when I was 12 or 13 years old, it turned around and went a different direction. In other words, I went straight to the streets. But I didn't know at the time I went to the streets and I went to drugs because I was giving up. I gave up on it because it never happened. In other words, once all the stuff my mama was saying that was going to happen to us, and we was going to get this money from our white family members, it was going to be an inheritance. Once all that fell through, I think a part of me gave up, and I may have just felt like subconsciously or consciously, I'm never going to be a millionaire. I'm never going to get rich. We ain't going to never get out of poverty. We're going to be broke. We're going to struggle for the rest of our life. My grandma going to struggle. And it was just horrible. And so I went right to the streets. I went right to drugs. I went right to alcohol. And I lived that life until I was about 21 years old. So 24 years ago was when I got saved in the trap house. When I got converted, I became a Christian. God called me into ministry, and that's when I really started realizing that there was a greater purpose for my life. Of course, I got clean, I got off drugs, I've been on a different path for the last 24 years, but it still wasn't until about 18 years ago when my wife and I got married. We met 19 years ago, we got married 18 years ago. Once me and my wife got married, now I had someone who could help me make sense of what I went through the first 20-something odd years of my life up until that point that me and my wife met and were preparing to get married. And when my wife and I decided to come together as a team, and she understood that I had certain dreams, she understood that I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to fulfill my dreams. She bought into those dreams. She believed in those dreams when other people just could not see it. Because at the time my wife and I got married, I didn't have a pot to pee in or when to throw it out. I had nothing. I don't even think I had a bank account. I think I was in check systems. I had already had 2 car repossessions. I was homeless. I mean, I was going through a lot, but guess what? She saw something in me that a whole lot of people around me couldn't see. So shout out to my wife. And guess what? Shout out to those of you that have recognized a lot of things that you want to accomplish. You're not going to be able to accomplish because you're unwilling to connect to the right person and to put yourself around the right people. Boom, that's a mic drop right there. But I would love to know if any of you that are watching me today, if you have had similar experiences, if you have experienced like major traumatic disappointments in your life, I want you to really lean into that thing and see like where in your life coming up to a certain point that you checked out. I know for me it was around 12 or 13 years old, but it was around the same time that I was buying into this dream that my mama was going to get some inheritance money. We was going to end up rich and blah, 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 blah. That never happened. I went into the streets, stayed into the streets, stayed a criminal, stayed a drug addict until I was 21. And then once I got saved and got my life together and got cleaned up, it was still a 6-year window between 1997 and 2003 before I met my wife, and then I started my millionaire journey. I knew it 18 years ago when I left South Florida and moved to Atlanta. I knew 18 years ago I was going to be not just a millionaire, I knew I was going to be a billionaire. I ain't at a billionaire yet. I'm not even at a hectomillionaire yet, but I can definitely say I am a validation and verification of what a blueprint millionaire is. Period. Point blank. And I got receipts to prove it. But this is not an opportunity for me to try to boast and showboat and brag and flaunt. It's really for me to show you that if you have the dream, if you have the desire, especially if you have the drive and the determination and a lot of those intangibles internally to really be a millionaire, to be financially free, to put you and your family and others on, guess what? All it takes is some other practical components to be integrated into those internal, intangible things that will really set you on the course and on the path. And that's why I put this Millionaire Blueprint together. That's why I provide mentoring and coaching and consulting for so many people. That's why I'm such a proponent of training and education, because I know once you get this stuff, with a lot of the intangible stuff you have. See, what I went through in my teenage years leading up to me getting saved in a trap house, it was God's preparation of me to use those things that were meant for my bad to turn them around for my good. But it was that living, it was those conditions, those experiences, being a drug addict, being a street hustler and a thug, and being a criminal and going in and out of jail and being homeless and just living like a vagabond. All of those years that I lived like that, it built the muscle inside of me. It of course at the time created a monster, but I was able to take that monster, polish that monster up, and use it for the glory of God and for the benefit of my financial freedom, my legacy, and my family's future. And I know you want the same, okay? And so today, I want to share some things with you that you have to integrate. If you got the determination, the drive, the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams, the desires, you got the commitment, you like Prophet Ramon, I'm ready, dog. I'm ready to do the doggone thing. All I need is the tool. It's kind of like you having a picture, and it's $1 million picture, but because you don't have a wall to put the picture on, and maybe you have a wall, but you don't have a nail or a screw and a hammer or a lever, most likely you sit the picture on the wall, on the floor, and you lean it up against the wall. Have you ever gone to somebody's house and you saw like a picture just leaning on the wall, and you like, oh, when you gonna put the picture up? Man, I ain't got nothing to put it up. It's the same thing. Being a millionaire, being financially free, putting you and your family on financially so that you can do the things you want to do is like having a picture, but you're not going to be able to live those dreams out, fulfill those things that you promised your grandma. You may have promised your mama before she passed, or your daddy, I'm going to get rich, I'm going to get wealthy, I'm going to take care of the family, and you feel disappointed and broken as if it's never going to happen. I'm here to tell you, because I don't know how many thousands and thousands of times I talk myself out of it and try to convince myself thousands and thousands of times, man, I ain't gonna never get rich. Maybe it ain't for me. Maybe God got a certain type of person that he's gonna do that for. Maybe the people who I see that's doing well, maybe it's just for them. There were many thousands upon thousands of days and moments and minutes and times in my life that I thought that I checked out, until I started getting different information. And then when I started getting different information, I started putting the pieces together. I started putting two and two together and realizing, man, a lot of this stuff that's keeping me broke is because of how I was raised. Not my mama's fault, not my daddy's fault, not my grandma's fault, not my community fault, because we've had some amazing, good, godly people that helped raise us and that did everything they could to protect us. We could have been worse off. But my point is, just the environment of information and the environment of certain things that were lacking when it came to finances, when it came to business, when it came to investing, when it came to ownership, when it came to creating legacies and having a foundation for generational wealth. A lot of those things were either missed because they were never given, or if they were given, they may have been overlooked or dismissed just because of how we were brought up. In other words, somebody can bring a pot of gold in front of you where we come from, and we look at them like, man, ain't nobody gonna believe that. It's just not believable. And so we have resentment for the few people who might be doing good, because now we celebrate the person who's struggling. You know, I come from a neighborhood and I'm a part of a culture like a lot of you are a part of and come from. And we come from those environments and that culture and those neighborhoods where somebody can go to prison or go to the county jail and do 6 months in jail. And they'll get out, they skin color is different because they ain't been outside. They wearing clean whites. They done got swole because they just got out of a county jail, got out of prison. And we will celebrate that person more then we will celebrate that same person if they cleaned themselves up, got out the streets, got off drugs, started going to church, and became a millionaire. We would start resenting that person. We will start hating on that person. We'll start looking at that person saying, child, look at him. He swear he all that. Look at him. Oh, he done forgot his own people. Oh, you'll never forget where you come from, dog. That's how we treat people when they do successful things, because it's what's been embedded in us. So one of the pillars to really creating a millionaire life and becoming a real-time millionaire is you've got to kind of work your way through that thing to make sure that you check all those boxes. It's kind of like not just going through deliverance, but it's kind of like self-therapy. You got to accept that, you know what? A lot of what I was raised to believe, a lot of my upbringing, a lot of my environmental views and perspectives and philosophies, they have affected my life right now. As a matter of fact, a lot of that has affected our relationship with money. Because if you look at where you are financially right now, that says a lot about your relationship with money. When I first heard that, I was like, hold up, wait a minute. It was a different statement when I heard it the first time, but the statement was basically saying, where you are right now, Ramon, financially, is a reflection of your relationship with money. And I was like, God dog, I'm broke. I'm in debt. I ain't got a whole lot. So that means I got a horrible relationship with money. But even today, I still read that statement. That statement on a more expanded version is still a part of some of my daily affirmations that I make and I read. And every time I get to that one paragraph and it says, where I am right now is a reflection of my relationship with my money, I be thinking, dog, man, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. And so I really want to help you, and I really want you to kind of look past maybe how you feel about somebody like me and understand, wow, I got dreams and desires. And this guy named Ramon Preston has information, and he has the success. He has the track record to prove that it can actually be done. Think about it. I'm 45 years old. I was raised in poverty. My parents were crackheads. My grandma was a poor German Jewish woman trying to raise some biracial kids who had nothing. She dies when I was 16. I was already a full-fledged drug addict, drug dealer, street hustler, thug. Started going in and out of jail, homeless. I lived like that until I was 21. which was 1997. We're talking about 24 years ago. So 24 years ago, I came out of the streets. Like 24 years ago, literally, at 21 years old, I was just starting to understand life. I had nothing. I was a loser 24 years ago, okay? I didn't even have a license. I had no bank account. I had none of that, because when you in the streets, especially when you're in the streets like I was in the streets, you ain't thinking about none of that stuff. You know what I mean? And so once I started my path in a new life 24 years ago, it still took me 6 years to figure it out. It took me 6 years to figure it out. It took me going through divorce. It took me having 2 children. It took me being homeless a couple more times in those 6 years. It took me jumping from pillar to post, from job to job. Cause I mean, I'm 21 years old coming straight out of the streets, and now I'm going to church, and now church people telling me you need to work, you need to take care of your family. And I'm like, okay, how you do all this? And they trying to give me like $7 an hour. And I'm like, man, I'm ready to go rob somebody or hustle or whatever. Go get me a 50 pack or something. And I struggled for 6 years. I struggled for 6 years. And then 6 years into my new life, from 21 to 26 pretty much, that's when I met my wife. We got married. And for the last 18 years, I have been locked in to become a millionaire. And I'm telling you, it ain't going to be overnight. If you think it's going to be overnight, if you think you're going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, I'm telling you, what if you ain't? What if you're not the next Elon Musk? What if that idea you got don't work? What if this whole digital, currency thing that's going on doesn't net you, like currency that you can actually use right now to pay your mortgage or to take care of your family or to bury your family? What if that doesn't, kick off for another 5 or 10 or 15 years? What exactly are you going to do? And so these are the questions that I've had to ask myself, and which, by the way, if what I'm saying to you is resonating with you on any level, please give me some feedback. I want to know who in my community is watching me, and what do you think about what I'm saying? And maybe you have some similar stories, and I would love to just hear your part to see, like, what have you been doing, or what are you thinking about doing to change that narrative for your life? So if you have any questions, please drop the questions in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I do my best to be as open and transparent as I can, because I really want to help my people. Okay, I really want to help my people. I have somebody on YouTube. Let's see, Player Parlayer. Come on through, Player Parlayer. Player Parlayer on YouTube says, "A million thanks. I purchased the holding company workshop and the bonuses." Okay, that means if you purchased the holding company workshop, you may have also gotten the financial systems workshop and maybe the sales and marketing workshop as well. He says, or she says, whoever it is, they say, "So valuable, brother." Well, first of all, Player Parlayer, I appreciate you for purchasing the holding company workshop. I appreciate you trusting us to train you and to educate you and empower you and inspire you to create a legacy for you and for your family. And I want to encourage you, even with that, if it's literally like sparked a fire in you, I want to encourage you to get access to our Millionaire Blueprint. This is like that workshop on 1,000 times steroids, because we're teaching you an entire business and financial wealth building system that you can put all of those components together to learn. So I've got a few statistics. I got a few statistics that I want to run through, and some surveys. I got some data that I want to share with you. First of all, surveys show, these are like real, surveys. They show that 7 out of 10 Americans are considered middle class. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 Americans are considered middle class. Now, this is going to be very important because some of you are going to have to challenge your own mindset if you want to become a millionaire. Remember, I just gave you this whole layout, this whole story for 30 minutes. So it's no excuse. You can't use no excuse. Well, you don't know what I know. You don't see what I see. You ain't been through what I've been through. I done been to hell and back a couple times. What can you tell me? What can you tell me? What can you tell me that's going to make me be like, oh my God, I can't imagine. Listen, I've been through it. So anyway, with respect to whatever it is that you've been through, 7 out of 10 Americans are considered middle class. So if 7 out of 10 Americans are considered middle class, then like who are the other 3? Who are the other 3? Who are the other 3? Because 7 out of 10 Americans in the United States, they're middle class. Well, out of the other 3, maybe one is considered rich. The other 2 are considered poor. You see that? See, this finna, I told you this finna mess some of y'all up. This gonna mess with your mindset. I really want you to see this because I got a lot of other information I want to share with you, but I just want you to see it because this information that I'm giving you right now alone is one of the reasons that's stopping some of you from becoming millionaires. Just this information alone is stopping some of you. Not having a holding company, that's not what I'm talking about. It ain't you not selling products and services. It ain't you not marketing right. It ain't you living in a certain city. It ain't you dressing a certain way. A lot of you that are watching me today won't even get access to information to even get on the journey to become a millionaire, not because of you not wanting this, not because of you being lazy and not wanting to train and educate yourself. It's because of this. It's because of that. What do you mean because of that? I'm getting ready to tell you in a minute. 7 out of 10 Americans are considered middle class. Okay? 7 out of 10 people in America are considered middle class, which means there are only 3 people left that are considered different classes. You have 3 people. One of those people is considered rich. We'll talk about that in a minute. Another 2 people are considered poor. So notice, out of 10 people, out of every 10 people, you gotta understand this. Like, oh Lord, please let me help your people. Cause I'm working with some people. I'm working with some people that, Lord Jesus. I thank God for all of you that are already in our coaching program, for all of you that are a part of our ministry, for all of you that are members of our Millionaire Blueprint, for all of you that really follow me and listen to me. Let me tell you, I appreciate y'all so much because you're like a breath of fresh air, because there's a whole nother group of people that it's like I be fighting against every day, trying to get they hard-headed behind to see that I don't care how much you blame the system. I don't care how much you blame it on the white man. I don't care how much you huff and puff and picket and protest and talk all that crap on social media. You gonna be woke but still broke because of what I'm explaining right now. That's why we got a whole lot of our people who woke, but they broke. Me and my CMO were talking about this yesterday. You woke, but you broke. This is a free footnote. I want you to write this down. You can't be woke and broke. Please write that down. If you're taking notes, write that down and send it to somebody you know that ain't nothing but a hater. You can't be woke and broke at the same time. That's why I don't listen to those idiots. Because it's like, okay, you woke. You know everything about the white man. You know everything about the system. You know everything about politics. You know everything about the educational infrastructure. You know everything about the religious institution. The church is just, like it's a scheme, and God ain't real, and religion is this and that. You know all about all that, but you're broke. You don't know nothing about money though. Come on, for real? Find somebody to play with. I don't know who that was for, but whoever it was for, can't say I ain't give it to you. All right, so let's get back to my point. All right, so out of 10 Americans, out of 10, 7 are considered middle class. 2 are considered poor class. And then 1 may be considered either upper middle, or we'll just say, for the purpose of explaining this data point, rich. I want you to see this. And I told you earlier, this is why most people who listen to me and most people who fight against me, not just black people, not just black church people, but other people as well. This is why. Because out of every 10 Americans, 7 of them are middle class. That's the problem, because this is a mindset. Okay, when you see the word class, this is a mindset. I'll explain that in a minute. 7 of them are middle class. So we act like there are more poor people than there are. But statistically, the numbers don't lie. There are more middle class people in America than there are poor people. Okay? Of course, there are more poor people than there are rich people, but there are more middle class people than there are poor people. Now, I want to break this down to you because I used to be poor. I used to be poor. No, I wasn't poor. I was po. I was po. So I know what being po is. And here's the thing about the po class, people who are considered poor economically. We know we po. We're on food stamps. We getting government assistance. We living in housing that's low income. We get free lunches. We get Medicaid. You know, we get free phones. Like, people who are in this category get everything because we're poor. We cannot afford to even live a simple quality life because of this classification that we're in economically. All right? But I'm just showing you from a numbers perspective, only 2 out of 10 Americans are economically, financially poor. Okay? The numbers don't lie. 7 out of 10 people are middle class. See, these are people, let me say it this way. These people, they know that they poor. These people don't know they're poor. This is why I said most people who listen to me are considered middle class. And these are the people who don't believe they're poor because they look at these 2 people and be like, well, at least I ain't got no slider. I got me a new Altima. I got me a new Camry. Well, at least I ain't living in the hood. At least I ain't living on Section 8. You know, I got me a nice little apartment. Least I ain't working at Taco Bell. But see, what you don't understand is economically, you're actually poorer than the poor class. And most people in America are in this part of this economic classification. And most of them are convinced because they're not poor, they're good. The biggest lie ever been told. That lie is bigger than the lie we talk about religion has created. That's a bigger lie. If you want to talk about lies that people created, let's not talk about religious lies. Let's talk about economic lies. That's a big economic lie. And the rich people know they're rich. And it's everybody in this class who think they're better off than the poor, but they act like they're rich. And the truth is, they're acting rich, but they're actually poor. Think about that. This is why most people don't think they need education, at least financial education. They'll go get a degree. They'll go get a certification. They'll go to school and take courses and classes to get papers to make them feel like they're way better than these people. And they should be living like these people because they know more than these people. But the truth is, they are more poor than the 2 out of 10 people who are poor. Truth. I'm telling you the truth. Don't listen to me. Take it from somebody. Take it from somebody else. But I'm telling you, I was this person. I was this person. I grew up as that person. As a matter of fact, I got saved at 21, got married 18 years ago. So I was technically 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So for the first 25 years of my 45 years on this earth, I was here for 25 years. 25 years of my life, I was poor. It wasn't until I married my wife, and of course we got married, so, you know, my value goes up, right? It wasn't until 18 years ago, 18 years, I became middle class. It wasn't until the last 3.5 years that I came down here. But guess what? Guess what? Guess what? A lot of the reason why I stayed here almost 15, this is like 3.5 years, I started making the transition. Truth is, it might be 2 years that I really started seeing it. But so at least 16 of these 18 years, I stayed here long, which I could have gotten stuck here for 40 or 50 if I didn't get different information. If I didn't make a decision that this was almost as bad, if not worse, than this. Like, I hope y'all hear what I'm saying. You might have to go back and rewatch this. But if you really pay attention to what I'm saying and just look at the way things are, I'm not talking about culturally, I'm not talking about educationally, I'm not talking about politically or religiously. Just look at the way things are economically and then come back and fact check what I am saying, okay? So let me give you kind of like a breakdown of how these classes work to show you where people are, okay? So we have, and I'm going to give you what statistics, studies, and surveys provide, okay? So we have what we consider the poor class, all right? That's one. Then we have what they consider the middle class. And this is the bigger one here. And then we have the upper class. And then we have what they consider to be the rich. All right? So I just want to show you how this works, if you could see it on the screen. So the poor class is considered less than $32,000 a year. That's considered poor class. The middle class, there are actually 3 subcategories in the middle class. You have the lower middle, you have the middle, and then you have the upper middle. And this is where 7 out of 10 Americans are right here. So the lower middle is $32K up to $120. You have, no, I'm sorry, yes, you have the lower middle, 32 to, they say 60, 32 to about 60. Then you have the middle, and maybe 60 to 120. Is that correct? I'm sorry, I got my numbers wrong a little bit. Let me make sure I had it in my phone. Let me fact check myself real quick, just in case some of y'all watching me and you fact check me. So we have the lower middle. Okay, there it goes. So we have the lower middle. We have the lower middle is 32 to, they say 53. I'm just saying 60. I wasn't too far off. Then we have the middle is 60 to 110. And then we have the upper middle from 110 they say 110 to about 400K. All right. And then you have the upper class, that's considered 400K plus. And then of course you have the rich, they consider that to be a cool meal or more. That's what they consider to be rich. Now, again, you might find different surveys, different statistics, and different studies, but I'm using this just to give you an idea. This means nothing to you if it means nothing to you. I'm just using this as a gauge to show you that if you want to become a millionaire, there are some things internally that you got to work out to reconcile your past, to make sense of it, to really solidify and stabilize your present, so that when you start learning information that's in systems like this Millionaire Blueprint, it starts working for you. It's not really going to work for you if you don't do those other things. If you don't stabilize your current state, your current place, personally and professionally and with your family, and if you don't reconcile your past to see, like, what have I gotten embedded in me that's hindered me, like, where I want you to at least be able to see, because if you're making less than $32,000 a year, that's the income or economic class you're considered to be in. You're considered to be in the poor class. So that means while you reconcile your past and while you try to work on stabilizing yourself in the present, one of the things that you got to do is decide, I don't want to be poor. So if you're making less than $32,000 a year, you have to accept that this is nowhere near enough for you to be able to do what you need to do for your family. And all you saved people, religious people, stop trying to talk people into making sense of something that does not work. And then you use as a lame excuse, well, that's just the Lord's will. Well, maybe that's just God. Don't put that on God. Don't blame that on the Lord, because you can't make sense of being down here, because you lost faith into being down here. Okay, just because you don't want to be rich, just because you can't make sense of getting rich, just because you have a certain perspective and perception about people who are rich, don't put that on other people. Don't put that on your kids and on your church members and on your fellow believers, because you cannot make sense of this here. This should be something that you say, you know what? No, I ain't doing it. I got to get up out of here. And I got to accept that this ain't it. And whatever comes with me accepting that, I got to accept it. But guess what? Getting out of here does not mean you want to get in here, because that's what a lot of people do. They leave this and they go here, because you got three subcategories in the middle class. You got lower middle class. That's considered lower middle class, $32,000 to $60,000 a year. All right. You got middle of the middle, 60 to 110, and then you got upper middle, 1 to 400K. Now, me personally, I got to be honest with you, and most upper class and rich people or wealthy people, because you got wealthy, you can't even see wealthy on the screen, but beyond rich, you got wealthy. I don't even think 1 million is rich, but we'll have another conversation about that. But just for the purpose of this statistic that I'm showing you, this survey, I think it's not until, and I have experienced it myself, so I know it's true, it's not until you hit this window here, the upper middle class, and really it's going to probably be somewhere between 250K and 350. It's really not until you hit that pocket that you really start realizing, oh, it's a change. It's different. Like, there's a level of peace that you have. There's a level of security that you have. There's a level of stability. Like, things change around this number here. And guess what? If you're listening to me and you ain't never been here, or if you've been there and it was a fake there, then don't question me on what I'm saying. But for those of you that have been there, or you are there, or you're past there, you know exactly what I mean when I say, okay, this may be about $20,000, $25,000 a month that you got coming in. And with that $20,000, $25,000, you probably have built through certain processes of coming up here, you probably built the muscle that you are disciplined to save. You probably delay your gratification a lot. You probably don't spend a lot. You probably don't even wear or drive or live in the money that you're making. So it's not obvious to the natural eye, but you know, and your wife or your husband know, oh yeah, it's different over here, because that's where you really start seeing the difference. This is one of the reasons why I tell all my staff this. And that's why I incentivize them to help them increase their income, because I always tell my staff, and I'm going to be drilling them for 2022 for real, that you gotta get out of these. You shouldn't even want this. The minimum should be 100K. Like, I start my staff off to thinking you need to figure out how you can make $100,000, period. Because you got to get out of this. This is not it. This is prison right here. This is ridiculous. And this is where all the smart people are, right here in the middle. This is where all the smart people are. Now, you got some geniuses up here, because I come from that. But right here is all the people who think they know it all, who always question people like me, who got degrees. They know everything and ain't doing nothing. They're not upper class. They're not rich. They're not wealthy, but they know it all. It's just ridiculous. But for those of you that are really listening to me, your goal should be to hit that upper middle class. Okay? So that sweet spot might be about 250K or 3 to 350K. That should be like, that should be your goal. Your goal should be, how can I make about $25,000 a month? Because if I can figure that out, and I can delay gratification, I can get the discipline to not spend my money and not to show off and impress people, to prove to people that I'm making $25,000 a month, you putting yourself in a whole nother situation. And I'm telling you, I knew it even before I did it, but once I did it, I was like, oh my God, this is a whole nother level. I'm telling you. And so you don't hit upper class until you're about 400K. Now, some people will tell you $400,000 or more is considered rich. There's no way $400,000 a year is considered rich. There's just no way. There's just no way. There's no way. I know how it feels. There's no way that's considered rich. As a matter of fact, you're probably more scared at 400K than you was at like 4K a month. It's like, it's just not, that ain't rich. I will go with the upper class. I'll go with that, because you are living different. You driving different, you eat different, you travel different, your kids are taken care of different. You probably a blessing to a whole lot of people, but ain't no doggone rich, okay? So now, if you go do some Google searches on this, you will find out that anybody who makes 400K or more, they're considered to be the 1%. Matter of fact, let me pull it up right now to see. By the way, if you have any questions, drop the questions in the comments, or if you have any comments, just put the comments in the comments and I'll read them, whether they're good or bad. So let me just Google this real quick. What percentage of Americans make $400,000 a year? Let's see here. Let's see. So it's saying right here, yeah, 1%. So people who make $400,000 or more a year right here in the United States are the 1%ers. Think about that. Only 1% of Americans make up 400,000. Most of the people are in that middle class, and most of them are not making 110,000 to 400. Most of them are not. What did I tell you? Let me pull my thing up again. Most of them are not considered to be. Where's my? most of them are not considered to be the upper middle class. Okay, this is upper class, but then you got upper middle class right here. Most people are not here at 110K to 400K. Most of the middle class people are way below that. They're probably between 32 and 80 or something like that. So my point is, your goal should be try to at least hit 25 a month, but work towards $400,000 a year. Anything over 400, now a lot of people say you're considered to start moving in the rich zone. But again, how do you actually do it? Well, in order for you to even get over here, you have a different mindset. Okay, and you don't necessarily need to know the things that I teach in the Millionaire Blueprint to get here if you work on a job, because you have a certain degree and a certain level of connections and experience that you can make that kind of money. But if you're not a tech person, if you're not an executive, if you're not, like a C-level leader in an organization, most likely you ain't making that money. I mean, you're just not making it. So that means in order for you to even get to the upper middle class, which is anywhere from 110 a year to 400, and then the upper class, which is 400 and up, and then the million. So let's just look at those numbers. So we have upper class, upper middle. We got the upper middle. That's 110K to 400. And again, everybody that I hire, one of the first conversations I'm gonna have with them is, let's do the math on how you can take your base pay and add to your base pay a certain dollar amount to make at least $100,000 a year. Okay? Like, that's what I want everybody in my company to be. I want everybody in my company to be six-figure earners, at least, because you got to have that mindset, especially if you're coming out of the workforce, meaning that you've been working a middle-class job, maybe a poor-class job, I don't know, and you're coming into working for somebody who wants to be a billionaire and who's building a billion-dollar company and who is already operating with million-dollar and multi-million-dollar systems and operations. I got to get your mindset centered around, you need to make six figures, okay? That would be the upper class. So we skipping poor, we skipping lower middle, we skipping in the middle of the middle. We want to go right to the upper middle. Six figures, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But then you got the upper class, right, which is 400K, let's say, to $1 million. And that is like the 1%ers. And the higher you go, closer to that meal, the lower that percentage is. You get into 0.09, 0.08, 0.07. Very few people ever reach this place, okay? And then we have what they may consider to be rich, which I really don't, but let's just say for the purpose of this conversation, that's, okay, you're a millionaire. But I'm telling you, don't let that fool you. I'm telling you from experience, and I ain't going into details. Don't let that fool you. So how do you do this? How do you do this? Again, this can be done while you're working on a job, because I have staff members, employees who work for Ramon Preston Enterprises who have the capability of scaling their income to six figures. 7 really, but definitely 6. So how can they do this? Well, you can do this by learning sales. You have to learn how to sell. So let's just say, for example, if you're working for someone like Ramon Preston and you're an employee and you come in here and you want to get to 6 figures, but you don't have a business, you don't have products and services, like, how do you become a millionaire? Well, you got to become a 6-figure earner before you become a millionaire. And again, maybe you will hit the lottery. But I ain't holding my breath waiting. Maybe you will come up with an invention. Maybe somebody will buy into your idea. But if none of those things happen, you better have some strategies. You better have some tactics, some techniques, some skill sets that could help you move up that ladder. And I should have done it a different way. Man, I'm giving y'all some game today. Whoo, Lord, I'm giving y'all some game. I'm giving y'all some game. I got to do it the other way before we go. I would love to get some feedback from y'all, okay? So we got wealthy. I'm doing it the right way. I've been doing it backwards. We got wealthy. We got rich. We got upper class. We got upper middle. Then we got middle. We got lower middle, and then we got poor. So again, from this on down, we have to work out whatever we've been through in our life as adults and accept that this is not it. Economically, it's not it. It don't mean socially you forget where you come from. It don't mean educationally you don't take what you learned and use it. It don't mean religiously you forget about how grandma told you to trust God and don't run after money and all. See, all this stuff comes from down here that we've learned educationally, religiously, socially, all these things, right? It doesn't mean you leave those things and abandon those things. It just means you convert those things into the new life that you want to live so that you can integrate them into that new life and use them as fuel as you go up this ladder. Okay? So in order for you to hit the upper middle, we already talked about that. What was that number? We said 110K to 400. All right? So all this stuff you learned in the middle, lower middle, pole. Okay, take all that stuff, your educational experiences, your social experiences, your religious and spiritual experiences, your family experiences, your environmental experiences. You take all that, but you got to work that stuff out inside. Otherwise, you're never even going to think on this level to get six figures, okay? And then you got upper class. That's 400K to 1 mil. Then you got rich. You got 1 mil. That might be to maybe 10 mil. I don't even think 1 million is rich, but just to make it make sense, I say 10 mil to whenever. But I don't think wealthy is 10 million either. Probably more like 100. Probably more like 100 mil. If I had to do my own graph, I would say wealthy would be 100 mil. Maybe it's 50 million for some people, but again, it just depends. I'm thinking about myself. So now my question goes back to, how do you become a millionaire? What do you need to do? Well, again, if you're just starting out working for someone, and maybe you do need to work for someone if you don't have a business system that can get you to where you're going. So you're going to have to learn sales. You're going to have to develop this skill set, because now if you're working on a job, just like my team members, my staff, I give them commission-based opportunities. So that means you're going to get a salary for your position, but then your salary is a certain dollar amount. But then you got this thing called a commission, which means if you go out there, see, your salary is limited because it's only so much money you're going to get paid. Like, how much money you get? Like, I'm the CEO and president of my company. If I'm getting a salary to be the CEO and president, it's no different than me hiring a CEO and president. There's only so much money the CEO and president going to get paid for that position, for that role. But if I have a commission is unlimited, because a commission is all dependent upon what? Sales. Salary is not necessarily dependent upon sales. That's why you got a lot of people who work good jobs and they lazy. And all they do is go to work every day, do the same doggone thing, and they complain. Man, I wish I made more money. Well, learn sales. Learn how to sell something. in your company. You could be working in a business and you could be getting a salary or a paycheck by the hour and you're limited and they not giving you no raise and you complaining. Oh man, it's the end of the year. They ain't said nothing to me about no bonus. Guess what? Get you a doggone commission. Find the sales department in your company and say, I want to learn how to sell. I want to get from in front of this computer, or I want to get out of this maintenance room, or I want to get out of the delivery room, and I want to learn how to sell so I can make commissions. And that's how you can scale your income and increase it. That's if you're working for someone. If you have your own business, now if you have your own business, guess what you got to do? You got to learn sales too. But you need to get trained on programs like the Millionaire Blueprint. There are a lot of things you got to learn. Let me show you some of the things that I teach in this program. I teach you how to start and structure your holding company. That's going to be very important for you. Even if you're just getting started, having this structure set up the right way, when you learn this, is going to help you to create more scalability in your business, okay? So now your holding company is going to either have divisions under it or maybe subsidiaries. But guess what? You have to have this set up. We're talking about becoming a millionaire. If you just want to have a little business and show everybody your cards, oh, I got a little LLC, well, then this ain't for you. But if you want to become a millionaire, if you want to get to $1 million, I'm going to tell you to do a holding company. So I teach you that. Also, you need to learn creative tax strategies. Why do you need to learn creative tax strategies? Because whether you work on a job or own your own business, your biggest expense is going to be taxes. At some point, they'll come back to bust you across your head. So I teach you in this program creative tax strategies. I teach you how to minimize your liability. That's your tax liability, right? Liability. Wow, I crushed that word. Liability. I show you how to minimize it. I show you how to maximize your deductions. Like once you start playing the millionaire game, what you're going to learn is having a holding company like a business conglomerate is going to be the ecosystem that you utilize strategies like creative tax strategies. So now all of a sudden you're creating these deductions, you're minimizing your liability, you're moving money and reallocating money within your ecosystem that's maximizing profitability. It's speeding up your process as opposed to you just have a business, you go make money, you spend money, you end up paying taxes or owing taxes, but you ain't got no money to even pay the taxes that you owe because you don't have this type of infrastructure, okay? What else am I teaching you in this Millionaire Blueprint? Everything I'm teaching you, I'm doing, so I know it works. Like that's the thing. That's why I can sit here flat-footed. I do have a couple notes from the statistics on my paper, but I ain't got no prompter in front of me. I'm not giving you something somebody told me. I ain't Googling somebody else's information and giving it to you. I'm living this. I know it works. So what else do you need to learn outside of starting and structuring holding companies? How to file them, how to form them. I have tutorials in here to walk you through the process of how you get your EIN, how you get your articles, how you set up operating agreements. I have operating agreements in here. All you have to do is put the information in and download it to your computer or upload it to your computer. You also need to learn creative tax strategies. I'm teaching you financial accounting, business accounting. I also have a workshop in here that walks you through the process of configuration for your QuickBooks account, because you're going to have to learn financial accounting, at least the fundamentals of it, okay? We also teach you real estate investing. Why do I teach you real estate investing if you're learning to become a millionaire? Because you want to take your earned income, or you may call it active income. And guess what? All money ain't good money. You want to turn earned income or active income into this thing called passive income. And let me just say this, because I teach this in my program. Let me just say this. If you're listening to some internet guru or some multi-level marketer or some affiliate marketer that's trying to sell you on a product or a program, and they're telling you, oh, if you join this business, I have nothing but love for all of you that are in network marketing, but y'all know what I'm saying. I have network marketers that I coach, so you know what I'm saying. If people are trying to sell you on starting a business or joining our program to create passive income, what they are not telling you, because they don't understand these strategies financially, what they're not telling you is that the income you make in these side hustles will not be treated as passive income for tax purposes. They're not telling you that. So real estate is a way to take earned income, active income, put it in a real asset, and once that real asset generates income, that income is not going to be considered earned. That income is not going to be considered active. For tax purpose, it's going to be considered passive. And so you're going to have these things called depreciation. You're going to have these things called appreciation. You're going to have this thing called equity and leverage that gives you the capability of turning, watch this, $1 into $3. So you take $1 of cash and you turn it turn into $3 of assets. This is earned income or active income. This turns into passive income. That is going to accelerate your process into becoming a millionaire. Oh my God, I'm giving y'all so much free game today. Like y'all should be calling me like right now saying, Ramon, you don't even have to tell me. Uh-oh, what happened to my Ramon, you don't even have to tell me no more. I think I just broke my did I just break that? I guess that's my cue to buy my y'all, I just broke this. I guess that's my cue to purchase my my Google board. I think I just found a reason to purchase my Google board. Did y'all see that in there? I think I just found my reason to purchase my Google board. Dog. I guess it's just time for me to shut up. So I'm getting ready to go, y'all. So listen, I talked about starting and structuring a holding company. That training and the tutorials are in there. I talked about creative tax strategies, business accounting, financial accounting. We talked about configuration of your QuickBooks. That is in here. We have training and tutorials on that. We also have training on sales and marketing. That's another element you have to be able to develop the skill set for, not just as an employee, but for your products and your services so that you can sell them. We also have training courses on goal setting, on daily scheduling, on hitting targets, on pricing your products, on packaging your products, on research and development. Like there are hundreds of courses on here, all of which collectively have been put together and designed to make you a millionaire. It's proven. Here's what I want you to do if you're ready to be a part of it. I want you to text the word millionaire. Text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. Text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. I have had a great time on the show today. I appreciate all of you. Let me see here. Somebody's making a comment. Let's see. Clifford says, thanks for opening my eyes to having a holding company. I'm so grateful for your channel, man. So true. It's not funny, but it's so true how the middle class acts, but they are poor in real life. However, it's a ladder. You got to go from the poor to the middle class, then being a millionaire, and keep pushing up where you now going to know how to manage good debt to your benefits. Absolutely. So for those of you that would like to join our Millionaire Blueprint program and have access to it for up to a year, we give you 1 year access to this program. All of the training, all the documents, all the forms, all the tutorials, all the access you need. It's an on-demand, online business and financial wealth building system. It's my personal playbook. I'm using it in my own life. I'm literally doing it every day. All you have to do is text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. Think about it. You can text the word millionaire right now. We're going to reach back out to you. We will process your payment, whether you're going to pay a one-time payment, and guess what? We offer a 12-month payment plan for the whole 12 months that you're going to have access to it. Like, it's no reason why you can't succeed. It's just you not wanting to go through the work and the process to succeed. But if you are, you could pay it one time. It's a $1,500 program. $1,500 to learn $1 million worth of game? Come on. Or you can pay monthly payments. All you have to do is text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. And we will reach back out to you once we get the text. Or you could just call the number, and my personal assistant, she's going to answer the phone right now while we're here at the office. Call 404-478-7213 or text the word millionaire. We can onboard you today over the phone on the spot. We could process your payment and we can onboard you, and you can get access to this like now. So text the word millionaire to the number, or just call the number. I love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here, same place, same time on the Ramon Preston Show.